And welcome to the weekly Gridiron podcast, season 4, episode 11. As always, we are your hosts, Adam.
Dante?
And Luke,
We got
currently
Luke over
live
here.
from the funeral of the New York Jets.
I was going to say Luke offering his condolences to the Jets fans after
No, no
yesterday.
condolences. I just showed up to make sure they were dead.
Okay. All right, that's fair enough.
Yeah,
But anyways, a lot of crazy stuff has happened in the NFL. We'll get to it in a minute. But first, we're just going to recap week 9 real quick with our fantasy football leaders. I was very proud of this slide I made. He is back. Brock Bowers has returned.
dude, look at his
Um,
neck. Oh my God.
yeah. Um, anyways, I'll just run through this real quick. We had Brock Bowers as this week's overall leader. I was very appreciative of that with like the 3 fantasy leagues I have him in. Had 43.3 points, leading all players and all tight ends. Behind him in the tight end room was Colston Loveland with 29.8, finally having his breakout game. Don't care what you say though, Tyler Warren is still better. And
True.
then you have Dalton Kincaid with 22.1 for the Buffalo Bills. On to the quarterbacks, Caleb Williams painted his nails to the tune of 38.7 points this week. Then you had Joe Flacco behind him. Unk still got it with 30.7, and Josh Allen with 28.82. At the running back position, I love to see the top two because number one is Christian McCaffrey with 34.3, and number two, my new king, Rico Dowdle with 28.1, followed by perhaps Rico Dowdle in the making, Kyle Monangai with 22.8 for the Chicago Bears. And then wrapping it out, wide receivers, we had Drake London with 38.8, T. Higgins with 33.1, and Devontae Adams with 23 on the dot. Third appearance on the year for CMC and Dowdle. Second for Caleb Williams, Josh Allen, Drake London, and Brock Bowers.
Cool.
And then we got to recap this craziness. Trade deadline day. So, yeah, more than one deal obviously happened this deadline. We don't have some included in this picture, including Jalen Phillips and Jair Alexander going to the Eagles. Of course, we talked briefly about Kyle Duggar going to the Steelers last week. But these were the major trades that happened on deadline day yesterday. Of course, the stunners, I'm in my second class of the day on my laptop, typing my notes that are on the PowerPoint we're learning. I take a second, I have an unread message, so I read it, and it just says sauce to the Colts. And I'm like, I just stopped for a second. I'm like, what in the world just happened? Not even like an hour later, I'm at the Hub Center. Quentin Williams gets traded. Jacoby Myers, of course, traded to Jacksonville. Rashid Shaheed to Seattle. Trevor Penning to the Chargers. Okay, I mean, not a big trade there. He had Logan Wilson going to the Cowboys. The Jets got a haul yesterday. 3 first-round picks, new receiver Adonai Mitchell, new defensive player Mozzie Smith. Of course, losing two of their anchors on defense and probably their two franchise players in the process. But yeah, what do you guys think? I mean, this is probably rebuild 5,000 for the New York Jets at this point. Will this finally be the one that leads them to great things? I'm not sure, but yeah. What are you guys' thoughts on deadline day? Obviously, a crazy day.
I'll answer your question, Adam. No, this will not. Because,
I agree.
you know, it's really with the Jets, I'm sure Luke could vouch for this. It's never been about the players on this team. They've had so many great players and so many, high draft picks, so many potential good quarterbacks, and a Hall of Fame quarterback past 2 seasons with Aaron Rodgers. It's about coaching, it's about culture, it's about schematics, it's about the Jets being a dysfunctional organization. The
It's
players could
about
be
drive, it's about power, basically.
stay hungry, we devour, yes. Um, it's about the Jets just being a fully dysfunctional organization. It's about Woody Johnson, I believe that's their head, that's their GM
Yeah,
or
Their
owner's.
owner,
owner.
yes.
Yeah,
He's completely out of the loop. You see these guys, I really could bet that Sauce Gardner goes to Indy and plays the best half season he's played in his career so far, best football he's played. Quinton Williams was dominant on the Jets. I bet he's going to be even better on the Cowboys, even though the Cowboys, you could make the argument they're also a little bit dysfunctional, but nowhere near as bad as the Jets. Logan Wilson to the Cowboys, that's an underrated move. Going from the 31st ranked defense to the 30th, that's huge. um, but as for, yeah, I don't know. The This won't move the needle. I'm sure the Jets will somehow mess up those draft picks and draft a quarterback who would never be good, then eventually go to a different team and play really well. Um, yeah, this I mean, good for the Jets, I guess, for snapping into things and realizing that the current formula isn't working, but the future formula, spoiler alert, will not work as well. So
So before Luke gets into his thoughts, my question for you, do you know who the 32nd ranked defense is? Because you were talking 30th and 31st.
it's not the Steelers. We're 28th. I don't know who the 32nd is.
I will look it up, but I'm willing to bet I know who the answer is. But
It was Baltimore for a little bit, I think.
um, Luke, if you want to start giving thoughts,
Well, I'm just pulling up a quick stat. Okay. Were you guys gonna say something else while I gather my thoughts, or are you the ones gathering your thoughts?
I'm basically
I
done.
could
I'm just
I could talk about I could talk about these other receivers that I'm really disappointed the Steelers didn't go get. Jacoby
Okay.
Myers to the Jags. Rashid Shaheed to
Well,
the Seahawks. But
let me go in on the Jets a little bit.
yeah.
One of you said something like, Adam, you said that there were the two franchise cornerstones. I'm not disagreeing on paper. What do the Jets get? Three first round picks, two second round picks, something like that. Mazai Smith,
Yep.
AD Mitchell. AD Mitchell. No, this haul will not turn around the franchise because you're right. Um, it's the Jets. It starts from the top down. The Jets are never going to be back. They're dysfunctional. It starts from the top down. I can only imagine the kind of dementia telepathy conversation that Woody Johnson and Jerry Jones had to make this all happen. Um, but let me just vent for a second. When I hear people say that the Colts won this trade, or that the Cowboys are getting like a defensive like beast. Past 3 years, Quinn Williams a combined 12 and a half sacks. Okay, that's not even terrible. Past 3 years, Sauce Gardner, one interception.
That's
Okay,
crazy.
he doesn't get thrown too fine. One interception. Dude, these two first round picks is insane.
Yeah, that's a fleece
It
on
is insane.
yeah.
It is a desperation haul. He's barely worth one. He's maybe just worth a strong second or two. All right, fine though. We'll see. It'll just make it even sweeter when they like maybe hit on one of those picks that they got.
Plus a young receiver, AD Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean, AD Mitchell has turned into basically nothing, but who's he going to be sharing the targets? I mean, okay, Garrett Wilson, but I'm also laughing because Brees Hall didn't get moved. He
Yeah,
has to
that's
stay in New York because they turned out a fourth round pick for him. Yeah, they got greedy after seeing the hauls they got for Sauce
they
and a
they
not
won
all
a
that
third.
impactful
Yeah.
1 sack in 8 games, Quentin Williams. That's what he's got this year, 1 sack in 8 games. So they got how many first round picks for those two guys? So that's probably why they didn't move Brees for a fourth. And honestly, we should be thanking them for not doing that because it would have been the Chiefs. But those are my thoughts. I'll mention that I'll let you guys talk about it more. Trevor Penning, that makes sense with Joe Alt hurt. Shaheed, I like that fit. It gives him some depth. Jacoby Myers also makes a ton of sense with Brian Thomas Jr. struggles and with Travis Hunter going on IR. So I like all those moves. It'll be interesting to see if Trevor Lawrence can kind of get the ball to Jacoby Myers the way he's had so much production in Vegas. Is that because of his talent? I liked him a lot in New England, but he was never really a one. He was really a one there. Is that because there wasn't anybody as good as him for all those years? So is he gonna be able to put up similar production in Jacksonville? That's my only question. Kind of the same thing for Rashid Shaheed, but those are all my thoughts on. Pardon me. Those are all my thoughts on the trades. So,
I think
Yeah.
I had to go in on the Jets a little bit there.
I think the move that made the least amount of sense was Shaheed to the Seahawks. Like what they don't need him. Like
Yeah,
They don't, but I read that their offensive coordinator was Shaheed's OC last year, so there's a connection there. But you're absolutely right. I saw that and was a little surprised because I'm like, that is one of the teams that does not need a receiver. But I, my prediction for Shaheed was the Steelers. I would have loved Pittsburgh to make the move for him, but
100%. I genuinely thought Jacoby Myers was coming to us. Sorry.
yeah, I thought it was Myers and if not Myers, Shaheed. But They got neither, and I mean MVS is there now. Of course, MVS is not the caliber of those guys, but um, yeah, I guess maybe Aaron Rodgers will work well with them because of their chemistry.
I don't know. I just think any Steeler receiver that you bring in that's going to wear number 11, it's going to be bad news. If let's look at the recent track record.
Claypool.
Well, Chase Claypool wasn't bad. I'm talking like some veterans. Dante Moncrief, Stonehands, one of the worst Steeler receivers of all time. Uh, uh, you know, could have been potential WG guest. He didn't want to do it. Allen Robinson did not do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Van Jefferson. Yikes. And now MVS. I think MVS will be better than Van Jefferson. But my point stands.
The pretty
In the
low
beginning, I
bar.
was gonna say if you're calling Claypool not that bad, then the list must really be pretty bad.
Relatively to the
Um,
other guys, you know.
yeah, so
What number does Roman Wilson wear? Oh, he's obviously not 11. So
10.
Even though I'll talk about his little boneheaded play that he made.
Yeah, he had a little too much fun.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know.
all right,
Um,
shall we move into the games?
let's do it.
I think we shall. We're starting out with a bit of a Thursday night snooze fest. We've got a divisional matchup here, but really only one side of this matchup is exciting. It's the Raiders, it's the Broncos. It's the matchup that gets the second half of the NFL season started. That's right. We are now 50% of the way complete of with the regular season. Just insane. Um, but yeah, what do we think, guys?
I yapped like that whole trade segment, so Luke, you can go first.
I mean, I just kind of let the Jets hear it, but that's fine because this is pretty easy. Is Geno Smith still like are they still rolling him out on some sort of like push cart every week just to go throw his 3 interceptions and then go home? I- Brad
I
Broncos are
believe so, but I know Dante is rooting for the benching because we know who is next up if Gino goes to the bench.
The guy who took a toll on my mental health for 3 seasons. Yeah,
the guy who took the winning knee in the Super Bowl last year, obviously.
that.
Yeah,
Of course, that happened.
of course that happened. Um, could he be any worse than Geno Smith right now? He would have to
Yes.
really try. You know.
Take it.
Well, that's the age-old Kenny Pickett debate. What's worse, um, throwing touchdowns and interceptions, or throwing neither? Um,
I can I just
so
say one thing though?
yeah,
Didn't the Steelers get a third round pick for Kenny Pickett?
Uh,
I believe
fifth,
they did. Oh,
fifth.
I
maybe
don't
it was
think
a
they
fifth.
did.
That could have became a fourth. So, but
Still, that's a day two pick for Kenny Pickett. That's pretty impressive.
that's pretty sick.
But
So the
anyway,
point is, give me Denver here.
Yeah, Denver's like really good. I like them a lot. Um, at Mile High, this is going to be a shellacking, I think.
Yeah.
Bo Nix is going to ball out, and this Bronco defense is going to wreak havoc against the Raiders and make them consider not being a franchise anymore. I think that's a real possibility.
yeah. You can almost lock in the over on Geno Smith picks in this one. I'll take Denver.
Cool.
Tom Brady is so stressed out about the fact he owns the Raiders now that he cloned his dog. I don't know if you guys saw that, but
I did. That is pretty
that and the
crazy.
fact that he's just like his life needs some enjoyment, so he's just telling the public that he cloned his dog.
Although, Mom, if you're listening, that's a way we can get like
We don't
30
have
millies in the house.
we don't have Tom Brady money, Adam. Tom Brady money means throwing your money at the Raiders. That's what I'm trying to say is
Yes. But if you want five
possibly
millies cuddling with you at
life can't
once,
possibly get that boring, Adam.
True.
you
All right.
wouldn't want 30 millies wiggling in
That's
unison and
not the
running at you
point
at
of
one
this
time.
conversation at all.
30 millies would probably cost 30 million, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'd pay the money.
You
All
know
right.
what?
Anyways, um, the
What
NFL
a
returns to international settings. We have a Berlin, Germany game here. Is this the first game ever in Berlin? I could be wrong, but I think it might be.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I know the Panthers
I
and
think the Patriots played there, actually.
oh, was that game against the Colts?
It
Fitting
might have
enough.
been. Yeah.
That
How do
was
you
I so
crazy.
I
remember? That's crazy.
well because that was like if yeah, that game was in Germany. I think it might have been in Munich.
I
I
know
don't
the
remember.
Panthers played in Munich
It might have
last
been in
year.
Berlin because I remember that Dante because that was the game that Mac Jones like threw the worst interception I've ever seen, and Robert Kraft just dropped his head. And
Oh, I
Was
do.
it the Bailey
Yes.
Zappi fake spike too?
yes, yeah, that was the game that got Bill fired. So that's why I remember it.
Dude, that's the Patriots game from hell. That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The Pats fans have not had a lot of bad over the years, over the many years, but that's one of the very rare ones. But anyways, I was talking to Luke about this on the way when he drove me up to the Willard building earlier for my 360 sports segment tonight. But this game is very interesting because this is a game that could define either team's season here. Both teams here have a lot to play for. The Falcons, who are now 3-5, 4-5 is a lot different than 3-6. The Colts, who are now 7-2, still one of the better teams in the league, still I believe tied for the best record in football, but you get to 7-3, you're going to have some fans starting to put the Colts on fraud watch if they're not on fraud watch already. So a win here is important for both sides, but I'm going to take the Colts. I believe in them a little bit more. And I think Daniel Jones is going to have a nice rebound.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'll talk about the Steelers part of it later, but the Colts, had a pretty rough game against Pittsburgh. Couldn't get the ground game going, which has been the catalyst of their offense all season. Jonathan Taylor has been great. First down game for him this year. First down game for Daniel Jones. Defense, was pretty much on the field for the majority of that game against Pittsburgh. Um, yeah, just an off game for the Colts, I think. And I think this is a good bounce back. I think they beat the Falcons at home. I like Jonathan Taylor to return to his normal self.
yeah, I agree. The Falcons almost came back and beat the Patriots last week. It almost should have happened, but a missed extra point. Um, and I don't see them getting lucky, even getting close in this game, like they did last week. The Colts, they bought into their season now clearly with Sauce Gardner. They've decided it's time to go for it, and they're going to want results. And I see them coming out with a sizable statement victory this week.
Cool.
All right. And now we have this to start the 1 p.m. slate, the Browns and the Jets. If you are not a Browns fan and if you are not a Jets fan, will you be watching this game?
I think even if you are fans of those teams, you're probably not watching.
Yeah, there's got to be something better you can do with your Sunday than watch this game, even if you're a fan of this team. You can go to the casino, you can go to the bar with your friends, you can mow your lawn, you can paint your house, you can watch paint at your
All right.
house dry.
Adam says instead of watch this game, gamble, drink, or mow your lawn in the middle of November.
Well, Browns fans do that anyway, so
Yeah, yeah,
gambling.
Um,
basically.
I'll steal this one and take over. This is the stoppable force versus movable object bowl, and give me the Browns. The Jets are that bad. I
Luke,
don't care.
you are on a heater this episode
Yeah,
with the
something
Colts,
about.
my friend.
Well, I'm live. If you're listening and not watching, my Zoom background is a picture of a gravestone with the Jets logo. I'm live from the Jets funeral, so I'm in pretty high spirits.
Oh yeah. As much as it pains me, I'll agree. I'll go with the Browns. The one strength of this Browns team is their defense, and you can honestly put like a slightly sturdy piece of drywall in front of the Jets offense, and they won't move it. I'm gonna go with the Browns.
Cherish it, guys, because this might be the only time this year this happens. But we have a WG clean sweep for the Cleveland
I'm
Browns.
not cherishing it. I'm
I don't
trying.
think he wants to cherish it. My question here, a little thought exercise. If the Jets win or are winning, do we see Shador Sanders?
You definitely could.
I
I don't think so. I think they're going to continue to be too stubborn.
Yeah,
no
maybe
matter
not this
what.
early, but maybe if it's like, and God, this is not going to happen, but maybe if it's like 38-10 Jets with 8 minutes left, maybe the Browns are just like, okay, we don't want to see Dylan Gabriel get hurt. Just throw Shador out there and just see what happens.
I don't think that would be the vibe or the conversation, but the scenario sounds about right.
Well, Mr. He's frozen and hasn't moved in 40 minutes. Kevin Stefanski probably won't make the change anyway. So
I truly think if Shador Sanders played quarterback for the Cleveland Browns in the regular season, it would look just about the same as Dylan Gabriel, I think.
It would probably, well, it couldn't look much worse, but
I think it would look better, but like marginally, you know. I don't know.
yeah.
probably. All right. Okay, let's get to talking. Wow. Your Carolina Panthers are 5-4 through 9 weeks. Fellas, we have matched our 2024 win total in half the time. We went 5-12 last year. We are 5-4 right now. Wow.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I am on cloud nine with this team. Never in a million years did I expect to actually beat the Packers at Lambeau Field. I had a feeling we'd make it a game. I had a feeling Bryce would make it competitive, but I mean, God, win the game? I had no idea. I was watching it a little bit at the house. I was, enjoying it. Had to go cover women's volleyball. Threw it on my laptop before the game started. Literally, as they are getting ready for first serve, Ryan Fitzgerald knocks it through the uprights. And if you're in a press box, you're not supposed to show emotion for anything. You're supposed to remain neutral. So I'm trying to stand still and not lose my mind because of the game-winning field goal. And I couldn't help but pump my fist a little bit in excitement. Like, oh my God, we just beat the Green Bay Packers. Like,
Just,
Bryce Young did not even have that great of a game. I'm willing to admit that. He threw an interception. But Rico Dowdle, you're RB1, man. You've by far earned that. I love Chuba Hubbard. I have a Chuba Hubbard jersey, but you gotta ride the hot hand, and that's Rico Dowdle right now. You gotta ride it. This defense, I owe Ejiro Evero a major apology. You are definitely the DC for this team. The defense has looked great recently. Besides the Bills game, we don't talk about that. But yeah, I'm on cloud nine with this team, like I've said, and I'm without a doubt picking them to beat the what 1-8 New Orleans Saints. Get out of here. We are definitely beating the Saints on Sunday. You can mark it down. Keep pounding. The vibes are high. Everything's going well, and let's keep it going even more. Keep pounding, baby. Let's go. Woo!
I'll go next. I agree with Adam. I think the main spark that the Panthers, you know, have been looking for, and the reason they are, playing really good football now, is an offensive piece to build around and rely on. Because if you think about since Christian McCaffrey left, they've really been lacking a a focal point offensively. And that's not a diss on the Panthers, Adam. I feel like that's
It's
just
absolutely
true.
true.
And I think bringing Rico Dowdle in and have him having the spark he has, he's a guy you could lean on. He takes the pressure off of Bryce Young, allows him to, whip it around and maybe open the play action a little bit, which the Panthers, may have not been able to do in recent years. Once again, not saying Chuba Hubbard
Yeah,
is
you're
a
right.
bad back by any means because he's very good. I'd say he's above average in this league.
Mhm.
But Rico Dowdle was just absolutely balling. Love to see it. Um, I would like to see Tet a little bit more involved, but he is playing pretty well at this point. I believe he had 4 receptions last week, which isn't bad, but for your first round pick, I would expect more. But once again, not bad. I think this is a perfect game for the Panthers to keep rolling, and I expect them to. So give me Carolina.
Yeah. Luke, before you go, I will just say, going into the year, I expected Tet McMillan to really be the Rico Dowdle role of the focal point of this offense, but it's
Yeah,
without a doubt been Rico Dowdle. And I think Tet is still on track to get 1,000 yards, if not just under it. So I'm sure they'll keep throwing him the ball.
that
So
was good.
yeah, I mean, they can't hand it off 500 times a game, or maybe they can because Rico Dowdle's just him. But
Yeah,
anyways, go for it, Luke.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. This should be pretty easy. The Rams completely dismantled the Saints team last week. Tower Strike didn't even look that bad, but this shouldn't be. I don't think this will be very close, especially if the Panthers. They Rico Dowdle has really his back must hurt. The offense hasn't looked great other than him. But if they can do enough to beat the Packers, come on, they can do enough to beat the Saints.
cool.
Absolutely.
Okay. Uh, Tom Brady Bowl. A little bit more interesting than Jets Browns, right? In Tampa Bay, finally we have a tough game. Patriots have been cruising off of the back of a very easy schedule. Now we have to face the music a little bit. Although the fact is the Bucks are still a little bit beaten up, obviously without Mike Evans, without some other pieces, and some pieces just coming back. Baker Mayfield will be the best test for this defense, which has been good but kind of treading water the past couple weeks. Obviously, we almost just lost to the Falcons. So uh, down here in a warm environment, Florida, give me the Patriots still. I'm still confident. We did enough to win last week, and we've been avoiding these trap games every single week, no matter what. Um, I think we're a good team. I really do. And that was a bad showing last week. Honestly, two turnovers from Drake May. The defense did not show up at the end. 23 points is more points you can allow to a Falcons team who had the offense has been non-existent up until that point. And even to that point, Drake London made three fantastic touchdown grabs. He just kind of made us look silly all day long. Excuse me. So I think on a better day with Drake May just slinging it, and I don't know much about this Tampa Bay defense. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I'm not that scared. I'm not super scared of the Tampa Bay offense right now, in their shape and the way they've been playing. They've been playing okay, but coming off a bye, I don't expect them to be able to light us up for anything other than 24 or 25. And we just survived that to the Falcons. I feel good down in Florida. The Tom Brady Bowl. Give me the Pats.
I think this is really tough. I think I'm unfortunately going to disagree, Luke. I think I'm going to take the Bucks. Um, two of the best quarterbacks throughout the first 9 weeks of the season playing right now. Baker has been phenomenal, and we all know what Drake May has done. Absolutely provided a spark for this Patriots team. Um, but I think coming off the bye, I like the Bucks a little bit more. Um, if this was in Foxborough, I probably would pick the Patriots. It's really that close for me. Luke hit the nail on the head. I don't really see either team putting up more than 26 points. I feel like it's going to be relatively low scoring. Um, but to me, I trust Baker and Abuka a little bit more than I trust the Patriots offense right now. But I totally agree, Luke. The Patriots are most definitely a good team. They're well coached, they're well disciplined, and they're firing on all cylinders right now. Um, but I think I'm going to go with the Bucks.
It's just interesting. This is our first real test on
Yeah.
the schedule, other than the Bills, obviously. But
Hey, you
you
played
know,
the Steelers. You played the Steelers.
and the
Hey.
Panthers we lost to. Other than that, well, okay, since the Bills, it's our first real test after four or five.
This is more of a test than the Steelers, of course, but
Well, then what's that say? Maybe I should be picking the Bucks too. But um, let's hear it, Adam.
Colin Cowherd had a two-word quote in a very random video one time, and that quote was, "Go Pats." I've got the Patriots. I've got them stepping up to the plate and getting a very big win. The Buffalo game, you could argue, was Drake May's coming out party. The Tampa game is going to be Drake May's coming out party for his MVP case.
well,
People are really going to catch on to it after this week, I feel.
hey,
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
It's going to be a close one, but I think New England pulls it out. It's going to be similar to how Patriots Bills was. But I think New England once again gets the job done on the road and gets a big win and goes to 8-2.
Jeez.
All right. Battle of the purple teams here. Um, Ravens and Vikings. This is an interesting one because both teams are coming off very big wins and very big, much needed victories. The Ravens looked amazing with Lamar Jackson back, a totally different team. They're a totally different team with him. The Vikings pulled off a stunner, you could say, beating Detroit on the road. JJ McCarthy looking a little bit better than we expected him to. Or maybe it was more of the Lions looking a lot worse than we expected them to. But either way, we've got a battle of the Purple Demons here in Minneapolis. Who do we think takes it?
I'm not sure, Luke, if you want to go.
Yeah, I maybe I should be going back and forth on this more, but I'm going with Baltimore. Um, Minnesota, the win they got last week against Detroit, a divisional opponent, and Detroit got in their own way a ton. There was a blocked field goal, a couple opportunities at the end that could have changed the course of the game, and it really ended up looking like a total one-sided affair when it was. But like I said, it just could have gone better if Detroit hadn't gotten in their own way so much. And in Baltimore, like no other team in the NFL, knows what they need to do to continue to climb out of this hole that they dug themselves in. This is certainly a close game, but for some reason, I have no doubt in my mind in Baltimore. In Baltimore.
Adam, what are you thinking?
I was gonna say I could go if you need me to. I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna go with the Ravens in this one. Like I said, I loved what I saw out of Lamar Jackson last week. They look like a completely different team with him on the field. When he's playing for them, they look like a team that could win the Super Bowl. When he's not playing, they look like a team that might be fighting for the number one overall pick. But the important thing is they have Lamar Jackson in this game. And even after the Vikings' big win in Detroit, I still want to see more. I want to see more from JJ McCarthy. I want him to show me that that win against Detroit in Detroit was because the Vikings flat out earned it and not because Detroit got in their own head and made some boneheaded mistakes. But the Ravens, I trust them more in a situation like this. And I think Baltimore, I think for that reason, I'm going to say Baltimore pulls this one out.
Yeah, I'll probably agree with you guys. I was trying to see if you guys would convince me to pick Minnesota because I really want Minnesota to win this game for obvious reasons. Um, but yeah, I do think Baltimore's defense is a bit suspect. They were giving up a good amount of yards uh, to specifically Devon Achane, but that Dolphins offense as a whole, Jalen Waldo had a pretty good game. They just could not execute in the red zone, missed field goals. But I think it it is very easy. Not no, it's not very easy. It's very possible to move the ball on the Ravens defense. So we'll see if JJ McCarthy has a good game. I could really see Minnesota pulling this off. Um, but as you guys said, Lamar is just lethal whenever he's on his game. So I'll go with Baltimore.
Okay. Not as easy or not as difficult of a pick here. I meant to say difficult, not easy.
Mhm.
We got the Bills and the Dolphins part two. These teams have already played. Buffalo took the first one, and I'm not going to waste any time. Buffalo is going to take the second one too. Yeah, I get it. Miami destroyed Atlanta. Atlanta has had a very weird year. They beat these very Bills and they lost 30 to nothing to my Panthers. You cannot get a good read on the Falcons right now. So, yeah, Miami laid a stinker last week, fired their GM, pretty much confirmed that their coach is going to stay there for the rest of the year. With Mike McDaniel and Tua leading the way for Miami, I can't believe in them. No offense to my friend Matt, who's a Dolphins fan, but I'm going Buffalo in this one pretty easily. It is not my lock of the week. You will see what my lock of the week is soon enough, but just know that this was very close to being that lock of the week. So,
This is my lock of the week, Bills.
Yeah, me too.
okay,
Let's be
both of you are
realistic.
locking that in, no pun intended. Easy enough for me. Now we got the Bears and the Giants. Did the Giants play last? I feel like the Giants were on a bye last. No, they played.
Yeah,
Who
they
did the
lost.
Giants play last week?
Who did they lose to? Um, 1 second. Who did the
I have the
Giants?
notebook right here. I can just look.
San Francisco.
Yes, San Francisco. That was a
That's right.
34-24 win for the
Yeah,
49ers.
and I picked the Giants. And spoiler alert, I'm done doing that.
I did too.
Okay. Um, yeah, well, the Bears had that thriller of a game that they had to come back and win against Cincinnati. Just
Yeah,
wow,
game of
that
the
was
year, probably.
possibly, yeah, and yeah, that was a fantastic game. But like you said, Luke, I'm going Chicago in this one. The Giants, they were banged up, but still had some good vibes, but I'm afraid those good vibes might be disappearing here pretty fast. And then you got Chicago, who's on an all-time high right now after their big win last week. Caleb Williams getting you through those moments. Colson Loveland having his breakout, like I said, but like I also said, Tyler Warren is better. Michigan fans, you could cry about it because it's true. But yeah, give me the Bears.
Yeah, I like the Bears as well. Really insane game against the Bengals. That was pretty funny to see. Um, Colson Loveland, huge play to win the game. I really like how Caleb Williams is playing. I feel like he's playing really good ball right now. Um, and I expect that to continue against this Giants defense that could cause some issues in terms of their pass rush, but I don't see it being a big factor. So give me Chicago.
Yeah, I think last week the Bengals press conference after the game or the interviews in the locker room was the first time I've ever seen players actually be like, anybody from the defense better not even look in my direction
Yeah,
because I will throw hands. That was the vibe in the locker room. Bengals game. So that doesn't even speak to how the Bears as a team really are, but when you get a win like that, it's a bunch of momentum, which is about the last thing the Giants have. So pretty easily give me Chicago.
All right. And wrapping out the 1 o'clock slate, our final game of 1 p.m., we have the Jaguars and we have the Texans. The notable headline from this game, of course, CJ Stroud will be out this game. I forget exactly what his injury was last week, but he will not be
question.
playing. Did you say concussion? Okay, that would have been my guess. So he will not be playing. Instead, it will be the man with maybe the longest neck of all time, Davis Mills, in at quarterback for Houston. I'll be honest, either way, I was picking Jacksonville in this one, so I will double down and take the Jaguars.
I agree. I think Jacoby Myers is going to provide a spark for this Jags offense
That
uh,
is right.
that has been slightly injured. I think him and BTJ are going to be pretty good. I feel like he might even unlock BTJ a little bit because they'll have to pay attention to um, Jacoby Myers. But yeah, I like the Jags in this one. Um, Once again, not Titans, Texans offensive line not doing CJ Stroud any favors, and I don't expect them to do it an even less mobile quarterback in Davis Mills any favors as well. Um, yeah, I like Jacksonville.
Davis Mills, that's pretty funny. That's like those edits you see of like athletes if they were like 280 pounds, like instead of Davis Mills, you'd call him Davis Meals. That's
Bars.
pretty funny. Anyways,
Yeah.
Luke, who you
Um,
going with?
Whether it's Davis Mills or Davis Mills, he's gonna have a lot on his plate with the Jacksonville. Um, but but a hot take of mine is so
Dante nearly spit. Dante turns off his camera.
a little a
Moment of
little
the year so far. Luke, you are cooking this episode, my man.
a
Wow.
little WG inside joke. To bring it back to bring it back to the topic. My hot take, and I'm looking off camera now so I don't crack up, is that Jacoby Myers might not make an immediate impact. I really don't think he. I think that's entirely a possibility that he might have like one of those takes him a while to learn the playbook, one catch for 6 yards kind of games. But I agree with the Jacksonville pick. Um, I don't love Jacksonville still. I still think we're waiting for the Trevor Lawrence breakout, and it's about to be year 6 or 7 there. But uh, Jacoby Myers should certainly help. Might unlock BTJ a little bit. Um, this will be an interesting one to see what the Jags look like if they could start to really put the pieces together and look like a team who might win a game in January.
Yeah, I'm still kind of waiting on the Jacksonville Jaguars to really convince me as well. But this game is kind of an exception because, like I said, Davis Mills is a quarterback, so it's not that hard of a pick for me. But yeah.
Interesting.
All right. 4 o'clock slate. Only 4:05 game of the week is a divisional one. The Cardinals and the Seahawks both coming off big primetime wins. Of course, the Seahawks more expected. Got to give Dante his props for picking the Cardinals on Monday night as his upset of the week last week. Great call by Dante. The only one of us to have an over 500 record on upsets this year is
Really?
5-4.
Yeah,
Luke
then.
and I are both 4-5. So, yes. But as much as I liked the Cardinals win last week, I don't think that that continues this week. I think the Seahawks are going to get the job done and continue to prove why they are one of the teams that should be considered to go on a run in the playoffs this year. Arizona, of course, we know the big news, putting Kyler Murray on IR today. Jacoby Brissett is going to be the man going forward for them for at least the next 4 games. Whether Kyler remains in Arizona after this year is kind of waiting to be seen. Of course, the speculation now, fans starting to think that he may be playing his last snaps as a member of the Arizona Cardinals. But for now, they've got Brissett. They looked good with him on Monday night, but that was the Cowboys. This is the Seahawks. A lot bit of a different vibe. I'll take Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle played a dominant game last week. It was really a sight to see. Yeah, very, very, impressed with how the Seahawks are playing football right now. Did not expect Sam Darnold to continue to be good. That's just me. I at the beginning of the year, I told people Sam Darnold will never have another season like he did in Minnesota, and though he's not having a similar as good of a
Pretty,
season statistically,
pretty
I'm
close.
pretty close. He still very well could. He's playing great ball right now, JSN. Oh my gosh. It seems like every week this guy's putting up over 110 yards. Uh, I just want to see Seattle start running the ball well. Um, I feel like they have the
Yeah.
facilities to do so with Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, but it just hasn't come together fully. But I think it could. I like how their first round pick Gray Zabel is playing on that offensive line. He's playing pretty well. Um, yeah, I like Seattle in this one.
Yeah, and neither of you guys mentioned Seattle is one of the toughest places to play,
True.
hands down.
True.
Um, so give me Seattle. They've looked fantastic. They should be able to cruise to an impressive victory when you consider how the Cardinals have looked with Jacoby Brissett, which was not, I don't think, on anybody's bingo card. After the duds he put up in New England last year, but Seattle has just looked fantastic week in and week out. That defense continues to be a problem for everybody they face. They're well coached. They throw the ball or they pass the ball. I'm just rambling now. The offense is great. Give me Seattle.
The Seahawks do in fact pass the ball. They are a football team.
Occasionally, yeah.
All right. One of two 425 games this week. I'd say this is the not as good one. We've got the Lions and the Commanders. You got to feel bad for Washington. Not looking good this year. Now Jaden Daniels supposedly out for a while, his third different injury of the year. And you got the Lions, who had a rough week last week, but are looking for a rebound. And spoiler, this is my lock of the week. I am taking Detroit on the road because, if anything, they are mad from last year's divisional round, losing at home as the number 1 seed, the 15-win team they were, to Washington, the number 6 seed in the NFC. I think they get some revenge um, against Washington here. And yeah, I'm not concerned at all about how last week went for them in this case of this game because the Commanders are a lot worse of a team than the Vikings. And frankly, they've got a lot more injuries than just Jade Daniels. So, lock of the week, give me Detroit. I get Buffalo was an easier lock of the week choice, but I wanted to be a little more creative here. Give me the Lions.
Yeah, I'll go with the Lions as well. Not much to say here. I think the Lions bounce back. Um, yeah, honestly, prayers up for Jane Daniels. That was one of the most gruesome injuries I've seen. Um,
Yeah.
it's been the season of gruesome injuries with him. Tyreek Hill was very bad, and
Cam
then
Scattaboo.
Cam Scatabo. Yeah, that was. It's been tough for
Yeah.
Wise this year. But yeah, I love Jane Daniels. Hopefully, he makes a full recovery, and hopefully he returns to playing this year, which is not out of the realm of possibility. I really hope he does. But yeah, I like Detroit here to come in and bounce back against a Commander team that has been, not playing anywhere near the level they played last year. So
Yeah, I would not want to be doing Dan Quinn right now. I doubt he's sleeping well. After leaving Jaden Daniels in that game down 27 with like 8 minutes left. What can you do? But to catch us up to modern day, give me the Lions here pretty easily. I agree with that, and they're going to come out with a bit of a fire after last week. Um, and after what happened last year in the playoffs, Marcus Mariota has shown again that he can be decent with this team and lead this offense to like some form of competitiveness, but not to win a game like this against a real powerhouse in the NFC.
Yeah. All right. Final 4 o'clock game, 425. Very good one here. Rams and Niners. These two have already played once. It was a Thursday night football game, and the Niners pulled out the dub in overtime. But this time the game is happening in Santa Clara, and it's 425. Rams, Niners. What do we think, guys?
Go for it, Luke.
I'm gonna keep hating on the Niners. I look, I was wrong last week. I should not have picked the Giants. But that doesn't make me any more confident that Mac Jones, if that's who it's gonna keep being, is just gonna do this every week. And if I have to stop making it about that, the Rams are just so good. They're so good. Matthew Stafford is playing like the MVP. Puka Nacua is playing like the best wide receiver on the planet. They are just so good. They're so well coached. They're so fast. It's so hard to beat them. So on the road, but in California, give me the Rams.
Yeah, I agree. Rams are playing very good football. Matthew Stafford is having under the radar one of the best seasons a QB has had this season. That didn't make any sense. He's having one of the he's playing like one of the better QBs in the league right now.
It is falling under the radar, yeah.
Yeah, he's playing very well. I believe Puka is still I believe he got hurt last game with a chest injury. I'm not sure if he'll be back this game. I believe he will be. But he's
I
been
think
playing great. Kyron's been great. Shout out Adam. I just traded him Kyron Williams in our fantasy league. That
you
was
sure
cool.
did. I
Um,
appreciate it.
he gave me a Buka, which sounds like a fair trade. But
It
yeah,
was.
I like the Rams.
Yeah, even as a Niners truther, I like the Rams as well in this one. You can't deny that LA has been playing some fantastic football, like you guys said. Stafford, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams. That defense is great. Well coached. You guys nailed it all in the head. I'll take the Rams and make this a clean sweep. All right, Dante.
Yeah. Who saw that coming? Not me. That was
Not
awesome.
us.
That was very cool to see. I really needed that. Steelers came out and punched the Indianapolis Colts in the mouth to give them their second loss on the year for 6 turnovers, five by the defense, one by the special teams. Yeah, this was exactly what the Steelers needed to get back on track, and hopefully it lasts. But I'm just gonna dive into that game a little bit. First, let's start with the offense. Offense didn't do too much. I love that we targeted Darnell Washington a lot that game. I believe he had 6 receptions, which is awesome. Um, we could have ran the ball a bit better, but I thought Rodgers played efficiently. I didn't turn the ball over. Excuse me. I thought Calvin Austin played a good game. Offensive line is always improving. Troy Fautanu has been a really good offensive line piece for us. Has not did not give up a single pressure last week, which is awesome. Really taking a step in year two. But for this defense, wow, man. I don't know if you guys recall last week, I said Alex Highsmith sucks. He does not do a thing. And then, of course, he comes out and gets off an AFC Defensive Player of the Week and just balls out. Alex Highsmith, I apologize. You played outstanding. 2 sacks, a forced fumble. He was at TFL. He was awesome. TJ Watt had a trifecta, strip sack, and a fumble recovery. That was cool. Peyton Wilson, an interception and a smack and a deflection that got intercepted by OHIO, Mr. Jack Sawyer. That was awesome. Hell yeah. I thought Kyle Duggar played a very good game. He was awesome. Minka Fitz, not, oh, not
Oh,
soul. Oh,
need
Jalen
a minute there.
Ramsey. Forgive me. That was just like
You're
thinking about an ex-girlfriend. Forgive
you're
me.
all good, man.
Jalen Ramsey played a great game. Brandon Eccles, great acquisition. Yeah, I love how the Steelers played. Simplified the game plan. Moved Ramsey up to safety. That was awesome. But moving on to this game, um, this is a tough one to pick because the Steelers, do we trust that their defense is going to continue to play like that? I'm not sure. And that's coming from a diehard Steeler fan. And the Chargers won against the Titans, but it was closer than it should have been, I believe. It was 27, I believe it was 27 to 20, which was also the score of Steelers Colts. Um, Gave up a lot of points to the Titans, which I would expect the Chargers defense to shut them down. One big storyline coming into this game, Chargers have lost both of their tackles. Joe Alt will be out for this game. Rashawn Slater has been out for the whole year. Very unfortunate for them. And for an offensive line that has given up the most pressures in the league, I believe I saw on FS1 today. It's 165 through 9 weeks pressures total, and I believe that's 30th in the league. Maybe it's 32nd, but I believe it's 30th. But teams are getting after Justin Herbert a lot, and with both starting tackles out, and on one side they're down to their third tackle, I expect the Steelers to get after Justin Herbert. Um, I like the Steelers to. I think it's gonna be a similar game to the Colts game. Steelers gonna get after the quarterback, force turnovers, and just do enough offensively. So I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh as my upset of the week because the Chargers are favored by 3. So I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, I'll definitely allow it.
What do you think, Adam?
Um, I'm also going to go with the Steelers. It is not my upset of the week, which now that I say that might spoil the next game, but anyways, yeah, I liked what I saw from Pittsburgh on Sunday. Like you said, Dante, both teams winning 27 to 20, but the Steelers, I'm less worried about it being as close because I watched that game. I believe it was like 27 to 7 or 27 to 10, so
Yeah, some garbage time
a,
points.
a lot of those Colts points were in garbage time. So yeah, it was definitely more of a beatdown on Pittsburgh's part than LA. But one thing I will add that you didn't mention is you said Joe Alt is out for this game. He's not just out this game, he's out the rest of the year,
That's right.
which
My
you
apologies.
hate to see for Joe Alt. Yeah, you hate to see that. But yeah, like I was telling you guys beforehand, SoFi Stadium, a lot of people, including myself, over the summer, forgot the Chargers play here. This is basically going to be a Steelers home game, especially because Steelers country travels well. So yeah, give me Pittsburgh in this one.
I'm torn, I really am, but I'm gonna fade and I'm gonna go with the Chargers, and I'll tell you why. I understand the kind of pressure that they got on Daniel Jones last week, and I understand the Colts are the best offensive line in the NFL. That's also Daniel Jones, who we know how good he's been playing, but it's also Daniel Jones, who I think Justin Herbert will be able to do enough in the face of some pressure, which, let's be honest, before last week, that pressure wasn't there. We were waiting for it, and it showed up. That's, to be fair, it showed up. But right now, I kind of view the Steelers defense showing up last week the same way I view myself getting up at 5 a.m. to go for a run. I'll talk myself into it, and it'll happen once. It'll happen once, and I'll feel great about it. But I'm not doing it the next day, and it'll probably be weeks before I do it again. And I don't have a lot of faith that the Steelers defense is going to start doing this consistently. So if they don't get the same kind of pressure, it'll be on the secondary, who, when the pressure has fallen on the Steelers secondary, bad things have happened. Quentin Johnson looks good this year. Ladd McConkey. The passing offense has been consistent for the Chargers. And I didn't watch that Titans game. For all we know, I don't know if you watched it. Those might have been garbage time points as well. I could be wrong there, but it's not going to change my pick. I'm going to go with the Chargers to do enough with the passing game to beat the Steelers.
Okay. And ending with Monday Night Football, we have the Eagles, we have the Packers. This is a playoff rematch from last year's wild card weekend. And I guess I'll start because I kind of spoiled it in the Steelers game. This is my upset of the week. I am taking the Packers at home. I get it. The Philadelphia Eagles, maybe the best team in the league, and Green Bay coming off a loss to the Carolina Panthers. I just want to say before I get into more about this game, it is so funny to see fan bases when they lose to the Panthers. They legitimately crash out harder than any fan base when they lose to anybody else. It's like they just assume we're like the Colorado Rockies or something. Like we're not that bad. We're not the best, but we're not that bad. Like
5-4.
people,
Yeah.
yeah, people legitimately crash out when they lose to us. It is so funny. But anyways, yeah, Green Bay. Tough game last week. Lambeau is still a tough place to play. This team is still really good. I'm not taking anything away from them. Micah Parsons is still going to wreak havoc, especially because he'll be motivated because he used to play the Eagles twice a year, and now he gets to play them again just as a member of Green Bay. Jordan Love's still going to do his thing. I expect Josh Jacobs to maybe have a good game on the ground. Don't know which Green Bay receiver is going to get involved. Maybe this is finally the Matthew Golden breakout game, but yeah, it's also going to be tough with no Tucker Craft for the rest of the year. You hate to see that, but I think Green Bay rebounds. It's just a gut feeling, but I have the Packers winning. That's my upset of the week. So,
Go for it, Luke.
I like Philly off of a bye. I do. Um, I agree. I think this is one of the weird game. Well, I think last week was one of the weird games for the Packers, and I still think, and I think everybody knows they're a very good team. But so is Philly, and they're rested, and Green Bay just got punched in the mouth. And so if they're going in second guessing themselves at all, they don't have momentum. Those things are real. They're not really a good enough reason to make a pick. But these are two very good football teams. It could go either way. Off of a bye, well rested. They had some very impressive wins leading up to the bye. I think they had enough time to think about this one. Give me the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Luke here. I'm going to also take the Eagles. This is going to be a very frustrating night for all of America because you have one of the more likable teams in the league in the Packers taking on one of the least likable teams in the Eagles. And I think everybody uh, is going to, not everybody, a lot of people are going to go into this game thinking, oh, the Packers, they could beat the Eagles tonight. But um, then the Eagles are just going to play their game. They're going to tush push their way around. And Jalen Hurts isn't going to do much, but he's going to do enough to win. And Eagles fans are going to rejoice, and America is going to be frustrated. So yeah, I'll go with the Eagles.
all right. And that about wraps it for us. Yeah, week 10 of the NFL season. Hard to believe we have already made it to this point. Everything is moving by real fast as Luke is making sure these fans see the Jets tombstone behind him. Yeah. Sorry to Jets fans for the rough week you had. I know Luke is not sorry though. Um, but yeah, go Steelers, go Panthers, go Patriots, and hope everybody has a fantastic NFL week 10. As always, we are your hosts, Adam.
Dante?
And Luke.
Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one.